Now, obviously, all three of the games today, we have big favorites. All three, San Francisco, Dallas, and Detroit, all touchdown favorites or higher. Since they implemented the third Thanksgiving game back in 2006, that would be the first time that ever happens if all three of these games close with the favorite being over a touchdown. And Bill, normally Thanksgiving, it's pretty easy to handicap, right? You take the favorites and then you fade Dallas. And that's just the way it's been. I mean, Detroit, since 2016, this is the first time they're favored in a Thanksgiving game. If you go back the last 30 years, they're 8-0 straight up when they are a favorite. And then the favorite in the Lions Thanksgiving game has been ridiculous as of late. I think they're like 14-4 or something like that. So I do like Detroit today. You know, I think it's tough for me to think that they're going to have two bad performances in a row. You know, that Bears game, they had a ton of turnovers. They should have lost, found a way to win. I think after that, you know, it'll get them to refocus. And they're going up against a Packers team who has had a stranglehold of this division forever. So now that the Lions are kind of in the position where the Packers used to find themselves so many times, and the Packers are kind of in the position that the Lions found themselves in, I think this is one of those games, Bill, where it's kind of almost like a changing of the guard a little bit, right? Where like Detroit is going to be the team that you're going to have to go through in this division over the next couple of years. So I like Detroit today. I'd lay the 8 with them. I think their offense rolls. Maybe look at an over in this game because obviously with them being at Ford Field, you know their offense is going to score. And their defense has given up some points as of late. Gave up 38 to Baltimore, 38 to the Chargers, gave up 26 last week to the Bears. So kind of like over 47. I like the Lions -8. And then what I like about this game, Bill, is you can take Lions on the money line, and you can also parlay it with one of the Lions players to score an anytime touchdown. So David Montgomery to score and the Lions money line, that's a -105. Love that quite a bit. So maybe it's not Montgomery. Maybe you want to take a shot at Gibbs, Amon-Ra. Maybe you want to take Laporta, but another way to attack this game as well. Bill, you and I both know that there are going to be a ton of people out there today who are going to take a Lions, Cowboys, 49ers money line parlay, right? And the big question is, who's going to be that underdog to screw it up? Who's going to be that team that could play them tough? Washington's not winning that game, so it's not going to be them. I think they cover. They're not winning that game. So you would think it's either going to be Seattle or Green Bay. I mean, look, with the way Chicago played against the Lions last week, you know, they very easily could have won that game. And the Lions are in unfamiliar territory right now. Like, they're 8-2. They haven't been this good in like close to 50 years. And, you know, it's tough to beat a team 2 times, even when you're clearly superior to Green Bay. Like, the Lions are they're starting to get in these positions, Bill, where they're getting everybody's best shot now. They're one of the best teams in the NFC. They're the team to beat in their division. So it would have to be just for the simple fact that Green Bay is obviously coming in there with nothing to lose, and they just watched the Bears go toe-to-toe with the Lions. They should have won that game, and the Packers are like, you know what? We demolished that Bears team back in week 1 of the regular season. So if they can give Detroit a game, we've already seen them this year. We know what they're about. We know what a good team they are. I think that's the reason, is just because, you know, it's a divisional game, and the Lions, you know, that their defense certainly could give up points to the Packers, and if they're turning the ball over like they were last week, Packers could shock some people and maybe hang around today.
Houston 6-4. They may be the surprise team of the NFL this year. I don't think anybody saw this from CJ Stroud and the Texans coming. But Jaguars, Texans, if Jacksonville wins, they open up a 2-game lead in the AFC South. They're expected to win. It's only a 1.5, though. Who do you like here? Jacksonville, Houston. Houston wins that game. Indianapolis wins this week as well. All of a sudden, you got a bit of a logjam there at the top of the AFC South.
Certainly do. And if Houston wins, Bill, they're going to be in first place in the division because they already beat Jacksonville earlier in the year. And that's a big part of this handicap, is it's tough to beat a team twice, right? And can Houston beat them twice as underdogs? Jacksonville's the more talented team. I've been so impressed with Stroud, just like everybody else, and how great he's been, arguably having the greatest season we've ever seen from a rookie quarterback. I just like the Jags in this spot. You know, they get blown out by San Francisco. bounced back nicely last week against Tennessee. And Stroud is starting to turn the ball over a little bit. We saw him throw a bad interception against Cincinnati. He had 3 last week against Arizona. You just wonder a little bit if he's starting to show some of his sides as a rookie quarterback in the NFL, because he certainly hasn't shown much of it throughout the year. But Doug Peterson teams, going back to his days in Philadelphia, Bill, they tend to get better and better as the season goes on. Remember Jacksonville last year? They were like a 4-win football team. Then they end the season on this big winning streak at the end of the year, getting to the playoffs. So this is the time of the year when they start to get hot. I think Jacksonville's the better team. And because Houston beat them earlier in the year, I think that actually hurts them this week. And beating a team, as good as Jacksonville twice, I think is going to be a tough task. So I like the Jags this week. I take them on the money line, -125.
Do you have a good pick for us on this holiday? Are you on the NFL games today? What are you doing?
I'm actually going to tail Jenks's a little bit, but it's different. I'm not scared like Jenks. Jenks gets scared and doesn't want to play certain things. So I'm taking the Lions on the money line. I'm taking the Cowboys on the money line. I'm taking the 49ers on the money line. And I'm taking Ole Miss on the money line for a 4-team parlay. It's not that it's super juicy, I know, but all 4 get you at plus 132. So I'm good with that,
right.
And I hope I have no reason to think that it won't cash.
Who are you most nervous of, Double D? What dog would you be most nervous of to ruin that?
Honestly, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, just because it's a rivalry game. Mississippi State has given me no indication whatsoever that they could hang with Ole Miss this year, but it's a rivalry game. It's the Egg Bowl. Like, crazy things happen in these rivalry games. I hate to bring it up, PJ, but probably better than anybody,
Sure
kick
do.
6.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you have to say to an Alabama fan, and they just go, oh. So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
I were talking during the break. I said, how in the world can Mississippi State keep this within 10? You tell me they can. Let's hear it.
All right, Bill. Well, as you know, the last week of the regular season, there's always a lot of talk about these teams that have 5 wins, right? And who's motivated to win that 6th game, make a bowl, continue their season, try and build towards the offseason. Well, obviously, Mississippi State, I mean, it's been a crazy year with them. Everything that happened with Coach Leach, and then Zach Arnett, who filled in for him, he got fired as well. So now they have an interim coach going up against their biggest rival, and they have a chance to get to a bowl game after all that. All those seniors and all those returning players, and they have a chance to beat their biggest rival, the number 12 team in the country. So I think Mississippi State hangs around. I think they keep this game close against Ole Miss, who I feel like has kind of been overrated all season. They do have 9 wins. Their only 2 losses are to Georgia and Alabama, so absolutely nothing to complain about there. But these games, especially when they're in Starkville, it always seems like they tend to be pretty close. And, that's a tough place to play at night. So we're getting the hook here with the key number, 10.5 with Mississippi State. I'd even sprinkle a little money line tonight, Bill, because you know what? We might not have any upsets in the NFL, so maybe we get our upset tonight in college with the Bulldogs at home.